Friday, the moment I saw Tracy Quartermain corner Brooklyn, my jaw physically dropped. I am screaming at my television because the audacity of Brooklyn framing Willow for the hit and run when Brooklyn is the actual driver who fled the scene is just next level insanity. And then right in the middle of that panic, we have Sunny Corinthos and ADA Justine Turner playing the most dangerous, toxic game of emotional chess I have ever witnessed. I wasn't ready for that. I genuinely wasn't ready for the absolute mess of feelings, the broken promises, and the terrifying traps that are snapping shut all over town. My heart is pounding, and I just need to vent about everything we are watching right now. To understand why this hit so hard, we have to look at the history of these characters and the absolute disaster classes they are currently teaching in self-sabotage. Let's start with Brooklyn. We all know she has a history of making questionable decisions, but framing Willow Kane for Jordan Ashford's hit and run, that changed everything. It hits so hard because we, as the audience, know the truth. We watched Brooklyn flee that scene. We know the guilt she should be carrying. And seeing Tracy, the absolute queen of ruthless Quartermain schemes, look at her granddaughter with pure fury is a cinematic masterpiece. Tracy doesn't hate a good scheme, but she absolutely despises a stupid one. Tracy knows that digging a hole for someone else when you are standing right on the edge of it is a guaranteed way to bury yourself. The expectation that Brooklyn could just neatly pin this on Willow has been completely shattered, and watching Tracy rip that illusion apart was both terrifying and deeply satisfying. And speaking of shattered illusions, I keep thinking about Willow and Nina placing all their bets on Jack Brennan. This hit me right in the chest because Willow genuinely believes she has this powerful ally in her corner to take down Drew. But guys, the reality is so much darker. Brennan promised them the world. He promised them the ultimate blackmail material to neutralize Drew. But if that evidence was in Ross Cullum's stolen black box, then Willow is clinging to a completely empty life raft. It breaks my heart and frustrates me at the same time because Willow is walking around thinking she has the upper hand, completely oblivious to the fact that her safety net has massive holes in it. Nina needs to seriously reconsider what she is gambling with here, because Brennan is no longer the puppet master. He is trapped by his own empty promises. I love this storyline with Tracy and Brooklyn. I really do. It brings back that classic Quartermain tension that made me fall in love with the show in the first place. But something still bothers me. Why does Brooklyn never, ever learn? I love that she is fiercely protective of her marriage to Harrison Chase, but the frustration of watching her actively destroy it by lying to a cop her own husband is maddening. She is literally handing Chase the shovel to dig up her own crimes. I love the drama, but I am so frustrated by her lack of foresight. It makes me want to reach through the screen and shake her. I also love the incredibly tense magnetic dynamic between Sunny and Justine Turner. The chemistry is undeniable, and the stakes are literally life and death. But guys, the frustration I feel watching them is off the charts. Sunny is supposedly testing the waters, giving Justine an out, acting like he is just seeing if she wants to cut ties. But let's be real, Justine is the one desperately trying to escape his gravitational pull, and Sunny is absolutely not ready to let her go. I love the angst, but it frustrates me that Justine, a brilliant ADA, is letting her feelings override her survival instincts. She knows how toxic this is. She knows it could ruin her career and her life, but the emotional pull is just too strong. It is a brilliant depiction of a toxic romance, but it is so hard to watch her willingly stay in the spider's web. I understand why Elizabeth Baldwin is suddenly raising red flags about Jack Brennan, and I have to say, her reaction was absolutely perfect. When she read that online article showing Brennan leaving Turning Woods on his own, you could see the wheels turning in her head. I understand why the writers are pulling Lucas Jones into this discussion too. It is the perfect way to start tearing down Brennan's facade. I still think Brennan underestimated the people of Port Charles. He thought he could play the sick, recovering patient while pulling strings in the dark, but Elizabeth is too smart for that. The more people that start asking questions, the faster Brennan's curtain is going to fall, and I am here for every single second of that judgment. Maybe I'm being unfair, but I have to judge Curtis Ashford's current legal strategy, or rather, his absolute lack of one. He is putting his entire life in Martin Gray's hands. Martin promises to do everything he can to keep Curtis out of prison, but guys, that sounds less like a legal strategy and more like a desperate, hollow prayer. I still think Curtis is making a massive mistake by believing a miracle is coming. Martin might be the best lawyer available, but he cannot guarantee an acquittal. Curtis isn't heading for a clean rescue. He is walking into a long, incredibly dirty legal battle, and I judge him for not bracing himself for the worst case scenario. He is gambling with his freedom right when Portia's going into labor, and it is just agonizing to witness. I also have to pass judgment on Jordan Ashford. What on earth is she doing? Going to the PCPD and making a confession at the absolute worst possible time? I understand she is trying to manage the chaos, but I still think that was a fatal mistake. This isn't just a harmless confession. She is dealing with Jen Sidwell, a man who is currently hunting for the person who sold him out. By stepping into that police station, Jordan just painted a massive target on her own back. If Sidwell confronts her, she isn't just an informant anymore. She is the prime target for his brutal revenge. I genuinely wasn't expecting her to be this reckless, and I fear she might actually end up getting arrested just to be kept safe, or worse, she will fall right into Sidwell's lethal trap. Part of me wants to believe that Justine Turner will finally find the strength to walk away from Sonny Corinthos. She is smart, she is capable, and she knows that being tied to the mob boss is a death sentence for her career. Another part of me thinks she is already too far gone. The way she looks at him, the way she hesitates when he gives her an out, it shows that leaving him is so much harder than simply saying the words. I honestly can't decide what I want for her. Do I want her to be the strong, independent ADA who takes down the mob? Or do I want her to succumb to the dark, passionate romance that Sonny offers? It is a constant internal struggle, and the writers are playing my emotions like a fiddle. Part of me wants to feel sorry for Willow Kane. She has been through so much, and now she is being framed for a hit and run she had nothing to do with. She is desperately clinging to Jack Brennan's promises to save her from Drew's control. Another part of me thinks she brought some of this on herself by playing these dangerous games. If Brennan lost that black box, Willow's gonna crash hard. I honestly can't decide if I want her to miraculously find a way out, or if I want her to face the brutal reality that relying on villains like Brennan always comes with a devastating price. The fan conflict in my head is real, guys. I am torn between empathy and wanting to see the dramatic fallout of her misplaced trust. And then there is the massive internal conflict I have over Brooklyn and Tracy. Part of me wants Brooklyn to somehow magically fix this mess because I love her and Chase together. I want them to be a happy family with baby Phoebe. Another part of me thinks she absolutely deserves to face the music. She hit Jordan. She fled the scene. She framed an innocent woman. Tracy is entirely right to be furious with her. I honestly can't decide if I want Chase to figure it out and arrest his own wife for the ultimate dramatic tragedy, or if I want Tracy to somehow cover it up to protect the Quartermain legacy. It is a moral dilemma that is tearing my fan heart into tiny little pieces. I keep thinking about how all these storylines are converging into this massive pressure cooker. You have Sonny and Justine dancing on the edge of a cliff. You have Willow, Nina, and Brennan realizing their master plan is built on sand. You have Elizabeth and Lucas slowly unraveling Brennan's medical lies. You have Curtis facing the terrifying reality of Pentonville despite Martin's empty promises. You have Jordan walking straight into Jen Sidwell's crosshairs. And you have Brooklyn facing the wrath of Tracy Quartermain while her entire life threatens to implode. Every single character is standing on a landmine, and they are all about to step off at the exact same time. I have to admit, the anxiety I feel watching these episodes is almost overwhelming. I find myself holding my breath during the Sunny and Justine scenes, waiting for one of them to snap. I find myself pacing my living room when Tracy yells at Brooklyn, feeling the sting of every single word because it is so incredibly accurate. The emotional weight of these storylines is phenomenal, and it proves exactly why we invest so much of our lives into this show. The stakes feel real, the consequences feel permanent, and the heartbreak feels inevitable. Am I the only one feeling this way? Am I the only one completely terrified for Jordan's safety right now? Guys, what do you think? Do you think Justine Turner will actually walk away from Sunny, or is she trapped forever? Do you think Brooklyn is going to end up in handcuffs, or will Tracy find a way to save her? And please tell me I am not the only one who thinks Jack Brennan is about to be exposed by Elizabeth and Lucas. I need to know your thoughts, your theories, and your emotional reactions down in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Port Charles is about to explode, and none of these characters will ever be the same again. Let me know what you guys think.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.